Welcome back to HPL. We saw Greensheep get on the board here in this match. Now he's only down 2-1, so I was sweating a little bit, but there's going to be no sweep by ErA here this match. So Nathan, you're not going to be right, but you haven't exactly been wrong yet.
Well, we did see ErA swap up his deck as well. I didn't expect him to swap his strategy. I think, it kind of should be going to the old, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And looked like he tried to fix it in that last game. So I would like to actually see him just go back to this Tempo Mage and really put the pressure on Greensheep. He did switch it up, and I don't think that Tempo Mage does very fantastically against Zoo. But so once again, he is on point. But, again, until your opponents have given you a reason to believe they're going to swap to a different strategy, otherwise I think you should punish him for it. Yeah,
I really liked Greensheep's choice of deck. I kind of like to compare that deck to the Hybrid Hunter deck that got really popular. Now, it has a lot of the early aggressive aspects that you see out of some of the Zoo decks, but it has a lot of cards that are also geared towards late game threats. So it can play a longer game with some of these decks if it really needs to. And we're about to find out right now what they're playing in Game 4. Greensheep looking to get the reverse sweep again. At some point in time, he's got to win one of these first two matches, right?
Well, I mean, he's swapped over now to what looks like his own Tempo Mage deck at this point. And meanwhile, ErA's changed gears again. I don't think Big Game Hunter is a very good choice against Greensheep. In my experience, he does not play 7-power minions.
Now, it would have been decent in his last matchup. There's a couple chances that you can get a BGH off against some Warlock decks. Something like a Malagos comes into play. But it's not going to be very good against a Mana Wyrm.
Mal'Ganis, of course, a big 9-mana threat that's very often found in those demon decks, as well as Dr. Boom. Big Game Hunter really has a nice shining spot against that deck. It can really turn stuff around if you have any amount of pressure added onto the board. But Greensheep's hand here is just gas. I mean, look at what's going on here. He's got ways to check basically anything that ErA is going to throw at him for a very long time.
Yeah, and we've seen this already in Game 1 and 2 from ErA. These Tempo decks, this Tempo Mage deck just firing on all cylinders, and now you're seeing it from Greensheep here, and he's going to attack the Silverhand Recruit. Oh, doesn't need to. The juggle came perfect.
Yep, it's going to protect it again. Sort of moving forward, something that's really important in that regard is to make sure that you're protected from Consecrate in as many angles as you possibly can. And the fact that he's able to keep this Mana Wyrm at 3 health, I think, is very big talking point for him. Can he do it again? Oh my gosh. Look at that. More damage going to be pushed in. ErA, he just looks flabbergasted by this. 2 perfect juggles from Greensheep now. Forced to Consecrate in this position. Not the greatest one, because this is going to leave behind 4 more points of power.
It does leave behind some power, but it does allow your Sludge Belcher to come in and really, really affect this board next turn. Or you could play something on the Anti-Keelbot and hopefully get in some attacks here. But it doesn't look like Greensheep has any idea of letting up the tempo and letting up the power here. You're going to see a ton of damage coming here.
4 points of damage just from casting a spell, plus the 1 more from Whirling Blades,
5 points
plus the damage that was sitting on board. This is just way too much for ErA to have to deal with. This game is actually just over here. It's Fireball and Arcane Missile. We are very, very quickly going to Game 5 here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that was a 6-point Whirling Blades, by the way. Pumped the Mana Wyrm, pumped the creature that he played it on, and got 2 separate triggers from the Flamewalkers. That is the best Whirling Blade I think I have ever seen.
Yeah, I'm just going to even show off a little bit here. It doesn't even need to play anything. Wow, kind of peculiar that he's not pushing the Fireball out here first and is jamming it all. I mean, this is more than enough damage to win the game at this point. Just look at the Flamewalkers do work. Just going to Fireball him straight to the dome. And I don't, again, he's just got more than enough damage to push through everything that's happening here. What a start from Greensheep. And wow. I mean, it's been a long time since I think I've seen a game of Hearthstone end quite so fast, but if there's a strategy that can do it, it's Tempo Mage, which has really been the story of this entire match. ErA's got 2 wins with Tempo Mage. Greensheep's got a win with Tempo Mage. Why aren't they just playing Tempo Mage?
It's undefeated in this matchup so far. It is 3-0, and it has looked like the best deck available in Hearthstone so far. This match has been insane. These Tempo Mage decks have been firing on all cylinders. You know what? We're 1 game away, only 1 game away from his second straight reverse sweep by Greensheep.
Yeah, I mean, something that's really important about this Tempo Mage deck is what it accomplishes through the early game. You see it able to kill a lot of minions, able to utilize its mana perfectly throughout the course of that, pushes for a ton of damage. It's got everything going for it that you want from one of these beautiful early game strategies. And then you couple that with the fact that its minions are actually somewhat resilient. 1/3 Mana Wyrms and 2/4 Flamewakers do not get cleared out very easily by some of the AoE spells that are out there. And the fact that he had that extra damage sitting on board because of those couple of juggles, that made a major difference as you moved into those later turns. And just once again, the Whirling Blades dealing 6 points of damage for 1 mana that's not an easy way I mean, that's not an easy thing to come back from when your opponent can use a spare part to that effect.
Yeah, you saw Greensheep play around Consecration very, very well that game. The Knife Juggles helped him out a lot there. Now, if you want to play this Tempo Mage deck, you want to see what it's about, see how to build it, see how even these players are building it and using it here tonight, go to pvplive.net. You can follow along there on all their career statistics, see their decks, see how they play them, see how they build them, and as I said, you can get even tonight's specific deck. But when we come back, we're going to have Game 5 between Greensheep and ErA and see if Greensheep can get another reverse sweep. You are watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.